Just same-day restorations.
Call us at 342-RICE. That's 342-7423. Dr. Rice Area Dental on Canyon Lake Drive, the dentist that makes you smile.
You're listening to SD Sports Buzz Tonight with Nate Brown on Kim Radio. Talk that matters.
Quality and service first. Mel's Auto Body.
Hi, this is Kevin from Mel's Auto Body. In all my commercials, you will always hear quality and service first. 30 years ago, when my father Mel opened the doors, those were the words that he believed in, and those are the same words that we believe in today. At Mel's Auto Body, we take pride in your investment. We did then, and we still do today. Mel's Auto Body at 1755 South Valley Drive.
Quality and service first. Mel's Auto Body.
Your local Farm Bureau Financial Services agent Tom Berger in Rapid City realizes that farming and ranching is your livelihood, and he understands that. After all, the companies of Farm Bureau Financial Services were originally founded to serve the unique insurance and financial services needs of farmers and ranchers. Contact Farm Bureau agent Tom Berger in Rapid City to learn how he can make it simple to help you select the coverage that's right for you today and provide options for the future of your growing operation.
Call me, Tom Berger, your Farm Bureau agent in Rapid City at 348-3470.
In Rapid City, you've got a friend in real estate. Hi, I'm Ellen Roach. When buying or selling your home or property, Will Dixon is the man to see.
Will invites you to experience the Keller Williams culture. Whether you're buying or selling, he can assist you through the entire process with a free market analysis and advise you on all your options. Will handles all phases of real estate and has built a track record for success. Call Will Dixon at Keller Williams Black Hills, 390-1140, and let him be your friend in real estate.
I got a question. How does Will Dixon get Alan Roach of the Denver Broncos to endorse him? Well, that's a good deal right there. Must be a big deal. Alan Roach and the Denver Broncos. By the way, the Denver Broncos 3-0 and looking pretty good. Through the first two games, the defense had more touchdowns than Trevor Siemian, the quarterback. Okay, they had more touchdowns than he had touchdown passes. That's probably not very good. But he came out big time this past weekend and had a huge game against Cincy. Broncos 3-0. Vikings. How about the Vikings off to a 3-0 start? Unbelievable. And speaking of the Vikings, here's a guy that Vikings through and through, season ticket holder, I believe, even in that brand new fancy stadium and everything. Welcome back into SD Sports Buzz tonight. It's Nate Brown on 106.7 FM Kim Talk Radio and SDSportsBuzz.com. I'm talking about Craig Maddock of KWSN in Sioux Falls on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. Craig, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, Nate. Great to hear from you again.
How about?
Yes, I am a Vikings season ticket holder.
How about the Vikings 3-0? I mean, you are just excited. And I'm not downplaying it. I really think this is kind of a fresh start for Sam Bradford. It seems like it. I don't know. Do you think he can do what he needs to do?
Well, a lot of it has to. The offensive line has not been good the first 2.5 games. I mean, the pass blocking and the run block not good the first 2.5 games. But second half last weekend, the line gave Bradford some time to throw. He got out of the pocket. Clemmings, the left tackle, and the left side of the line gave him time to throw, and he made those short throws to the tight end. They kept a couple of tight ends in to help block. They just scrape one of the linemen and then go out on their route, and Bradford hit him. And that was a big difference in them. It's starting to click offensively. Defensively, though, tell you what, that is looking really good right now. They lead the league in sacks, and they're right up there, one of the top teams in not allowing points on the board. I think they're behind, actually, the Philadelphia Eagles and the mayor of North Dakota, Carson Wentz, when it comes to giving up defensive touchdowns. And then the Broncos are right there after the Vikings.
I'll tell you what, I look at it, where were you at when the Vikings gave up their big pick? Okay, they gave up their big pick to get Sam Bradford. There were a lot of naysayers saying, we gave up this pick to get Sam Bradford? Are you kidding me? Where were you at initially? And then now all those guys are going, oh, wait a minute, this might be okay.
I was surprised when they made the move. I was expecting them to get some guy who was going to be cut by a team who couldn't even be a third stringer for them. That was my biggest fear. But you know what? They got a starter. they got a starter. And
so you liked it? You liked it that they did that for Sam Bradford?
Yeah, and it was good for Bradford. I mean, his best year in St. Louis, he threw for 3,500 yards, 21 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, and then when his best year in Philly, he was about 3,700 yards, 21 touchdowns, 14 picks, about the same, and he's got maybe more weapons in Minnesota now, but he's got to get an offensive line that's going to protect him. He's going to have that craw. And I'm thinking he's always going to be looking behind him to make sure that no one's coming from the backside.
Well, it's interesting. I needed to talk a little Vikings with you. I mean, I'm Broncos all the time out here, and this is really Broncos country, but there's a few Viking transplants that kind of leaked over from East River.
They have their own gated community over there?
Something like that.
How about Ronnie Hillman, though, the former Bronco, Ronnie Hillman?
Yeah, that's interesting, too.
I don't know if he's going to make it or not. Certainly he's there right now as a third running back in case he's needed.
Well, he wasn't needed for the Broncos, I will tell you that.
Well, he was their leading rusher.
I'll take C.J. Anderson. He's doing okay. By the way, it would be great. I do like when the Vikings are good, Broncos are good for this part of the country. Both of our teams doing well. Craig Maddock on the program tonight. How often do you get up to those games? You're a season ticket holder. Do you have to give your tickets up every now and then on StubHub or NFL Ticket Exchange, or do you get up there all the time?
Once in a great while. I'm still trying to decide whether I want to go up Monday night or not.
Okay, so you're
you know what it's like. It's that. I haven't decided yet, but for the most part, we're there all the time.
How's that stadium, U.S. Bank Stadium?
Beautiful. Oh man, it's beautiful. It's great. It's a lot bigger than the Dome. I mean, it is loud, but I don't think it's louder than the Metrodome. But it's a lot bigger. It's a lot higher. But it still got loud when the Packers were there, and that was pretty fun.
One of those experiences. Okay, into South Dakota high school football. The story comes out of Sioux Falls. The big story of the week is Aaron Beavers, head coach at Sioux Falls Lincoln. They won a couple of state championships a couple of years ago, starting to kind of go down the road where they were, meaning not one of the powers in Sioux Falls. That seems like what happened last year. That's what's happened this year. The numbers aren't quite as good. An abrupt resignation, boom, on a Thursday. They go and get beat by Aberdeen Central last Friday. The new coach was the defensive coordinator. He said, we're moving forward. We're trying to keep this thing together. What's the deal here? I mean, how surprised were you to hear that?
I was very surprised, and still nobody is officially talking about what's going on. Now, the school board earlier this week did accept his resignation as a teacher as well,
right?
In the district. So he was a FIAD teacher. He's not, so he has resigned from that. And we were told by him that this is the best thing for him and his family to do, but no other details. No other details. Pretty mum. He has not returned, and he is not commenting yet on the reason why. And we're also being, if we want more details, to go through the principal's office, since it's a personnel matter, which means you're not going to get anything from them as well.
Speculation, right? Everybody can speculate and everything, but it was one of those things where that rarely happens. Middle of a football season, Thursday, they're getting ready, and then also the teaching job as well. I mean, that's the bigger picture. So there's something, there's some story there, and it'll be interesting to see what turns out.
I wish him all the best. I certainly do.
Aaron Beavers did a nice job, and
they won 3 championships.
Was Sioux Falls Lincoln the last 2 years? It seemed like a pretty steep drop off from where they were, but they were very high.
They had a pretty good run though. They had that back-to-back year where they had a number of athletes, and you know what it's like too when you're following high schools, Nate, that even St. Thomas More, there comes times where you just don't have the numbers that you need every year to be competitive. I mean, look at Del Rapids and West Central this year. Look at some of these others that Yankton. I mean, there are times where you get your roller coaster ride when it comes to athletes and the numbers that are out, and the numbers are down in a couple of Sioux Falls schools this year.
Is that right? Okay. How about this matchup? Speaking of athletes and a good group and a good run. Madison's continuing to be on a run. Madison 5-0 at 5-0 Sioux Falls Christian. Is that a tight one Friday?
I've got the game on our station on Friday, so I'll be there with the game. This one is a game that folks are thinking is Sioux Falls Christian for real. Certainly they play a lot of teams in Class 11B. They've had some quality wins. I mean, Sioux Falls Christian has beaten Bridgewater Emory Ethan, which has been doing quite well in Class 11B. They beat a ranked Sioux Valley team. They get Madison and Tri-Valley yet. But Madison has the toughest schedule of everybody. I'm talking any class. Any class. Madison has the toughest record the rest of the way because they got Sioux Falls Christian, they got Canton, and then they have T area and Millbank area. That is a brutal schedule for Madison.
Do they get touched? I mean, it seems like Madison's still a cut above other teams. Now, they're going to be tested there, but I said I take Madison by double digits, meaning 10 or more. I still think Madison wins that game comfortably at Sioux Falls Christian, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm just, after talking to the head coach out there and talking about the guys he has, boy, they're really good.
Yeah, Max Hodgins got a really good club up there. Jake Pettengill, the coach at Sioux Falls Christian, he was very happy with his defense in their win a couple of weeks ago against Sioux Valley, a team that was ranked in our top 5 in Class 11B earlier. So this is a more important game, I think, for Sioux Falls Christian than it is for Madison.
By the way, are you still holding to this sentiment that St. Thomas More is going to make a run to the Dome? They've been untouchable.
What did I tell you at the beginning of the season?
You said they were. I'm still asking.
I told you at the beginning of the season that the road to Vermilion is going through Rapid City.
I love it. I wonder how you can make that statement so emphatically. I mean,
do you remember the last time I was wrong?
Well, actually, I do.
Don't answer that.
Actually, I do. I look at it, though, and I say, well, look at T and look at Madison and look at how the PowerPoints are going to play out. You could have
St. Thomas More is going to run the table. They're going to run the table. They're going to be undefeated. Madison gets T area and Sioux Falls Christian. Those are the only unbeaten teams. Madison could run the table. St. Thomas More would run the table. They'd be the 1 and 2 seeds. And that's exactly what you want in playoffs.
And you don't see anybody touching them if they are the 1 and 2 seeds in the playoffs, essentially.
Unless you got Millbank area or Del Rapids making a late run, I just don't know. But I think the 4 undefeated teams, 2 of those will be in the Dome. In fact, I've got the top teams in AAA and AA already picked. Class 11B I've got already picked. 9-man, I already got one of those picks. Not a lot of surprises on my book.
Yeah, I don't think there is really. I haven't gone that far yet with St. Thomas More, and people accuse me of being a St. Thomas More homer. And I haven't even gone as far as Craig Maddock on taking them to the Dome right now. But I'll keep you coming on the program and keep that storyline going. Craig Maddock, KWSN Sports Radio. You can listen to him at KWSN.com every afternoon. I appreciate it, Craig. Thanks.
All right, Nate. Take care. See you.
There he goes, Craig Maddock on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line tonight from Sioux Falls. He's staying with it. The St. Thomas More Cavaliers going to the Dome once again, according to Craig. Still a lot of football left. That's a great, talented team. Really good quarterback play. The offensive and defensive lines, I think, have surprised. We'll talk to Wayne Sullivan straight ahead. But first, I guess it's kind of the Sullivan hour here. First, Rapid City Zone. St. Thomas More quarterback was absolutely a great player in high school, and his play is so elevated right now, throwing it, running it, leading the South Dakota Mines Hard Rockers to a 3-1 start, surprising everybody. And the Hard Rockers at home for homecoming Saturday night at O'Hara Stadium, a 6 o'clock start against Adams State in the RMAC Conference. We'll talk to Jake Sullivan, quarterback of the Hard Rockers, next.
Get a great deal on your favorite Chevy. Save 16% off MSRP on remaining Silverado, Malibu, and Cruze inventory. That's a savings of over $7,000 when you buy a Silverado. Just think of all the things you can buy with that extra cash. Maybe a first car for your newly licensed kid, or maybe even just paying off some bills, however you choose to spend that extra cash. Our friendly staff is here to help you get started. Your new road starts here. Feel the difference at Rapid Chevrolet.
Your sports, your show. This is SD Sports Buzz Tonight with Nate Brown on Kim Radio. Talk that matters.
This summer, get a great deal on your favorite Chevy. Save 16% off MSRP on remaining Silverado, Malibu, and Cruise inventory. That's a savings of over $7,000 when you buy a Silverado. Just think of all the things you can buy with that extra cash. Maybe a first car for your newly licensed kid. Or maybe even just paying off some bills. However you choose to spend that extra cash. Our friendly staff is here to help you get started. Your new road starts here. Feel the difference at Rapid Chevrolet.
Dale's Tire and Retreading has been providing quality brands of tires and excellent service to the Black Hills area for over 50 years. Dale's Tires sells tires for cars, trucks, SUVs, agriculture, construction, and more. Dale's Tire has what you need when you need it and offers appointment times to get you in and out faster. See the experts at Dale's Tire and Retreading. 2 convenient locations in Rapid City, 691 Deadwood Avenue and 3200 Campbell Street. Dale's Tire and Retreading. Looking for a winning team to follow this summer? Check out the Black Hills unbeatable tandem of Xerox and the color experts at Matheson's. Hit a home run with the Xerox Workcenter MFP today, and you'll be able to print, copy, and scan your crucial business documents and marketing materials just like the pros do. Matheson's cost per copy program is the safe play every time. You pay nothing up front for the equipment, and the high cost of supplies and repairs become a nightmare of the past. Visit the Matheson's team of Xerox All-Stars at 324 St. Joe Street, downtown Rapid City, or at mathesons.com. Rapid City Central Cobblers football is on the air 7 o'clock this Friday night as the Cobblers host the Brandon Lynx. Brian Fisher here inviting you to join me for the play-by-play coverage of the Cobblers and the Lynx 7 o'clock this Friday night. Brought to you by these community-minded high school sports sponsors: Pro Auto Care, Fisher Rounds Insurance Agency, McPherson Auction Company, Farm Bureau Financial Services Agent Tom Berger, Dakota Discount RV, Rapid Chevrolet Cadillac, Dale's Tire, Matheson's Printing, and Rice Area Dental on Kim Radio. Talk that matters.
Welcome back, SD Sports Buzz Tonight with Nate Brown. Glad to have you on board. 106.7 FM, Kim Talk Radio, and online streaming at sdsportsbuzz.com. Remember, if you miss any interviews tonight, you can't catch the whole show. All the interviews are archived tomorrow at sdsportsbuzz.com. You can listen to every interview, every coach, every student-athlete we have on, sdsportsbuzz.com. Tomorrow, all the interviews there. Straight ahead, we'll talk to Coach Dan Machacek, head coach out of Douglas. Rob Sales on tonight over Rapid City Central. They're at home this week. Richard Anderson, sports writer for the Rapid City Journal, will break down the weekend coming up as well. Let's go to the South Dakota Mines quarterback situation. They've got a good one going on right now and a good start for the Hard Rockers, no question, surprising a lot of folks and a lot of folks in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference as South Dakota Mines with a big victory over Black Hills State. Yellow Jackets were unbeaten coming in this past Saturday. The Hard Rockers win 46-17. South Dakota Mines now 3-1 and back at home for M-Day. It's homecoming for the Hard Rockers Saturday night, 6 o'clock kickoff at home at O'Hara Stadium against Adams State. And South Dakota Mines trying to move their record to 4-1. And their quarterback joins us, Rapid City's own Jake Sullivan on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. Jake, how are you?
I'm doing well, Nate. Thanks for having me.
I'll tell you what, I know you got to go to a study session. I mean, you're at South Dakota Mines, so you got to do the academic side a lot. So I'll make this brief, but let's go back to Saturday, a tight game early on, and then you guys blew it wide open. Talk about initially, this is now your second win really as quarterback. You led South Dakota Mines to a win over Black Hills State. Tight one last year. You won it on the final drive. This year it was tight early. You broke it open, but how about the atmosphere Saturday? Now, back-to-back years at O'Hara Stadium, the atmosphere as a player, what was that like just early on?
Oh, it was great. It was it's something you can't really explain, something you kind of got to experience for yourself. And, like you said, I was lucky enough to get to play in the game last year, and it was a little tighter one last year, but it's always fun to win. And, those BH games are always great, and it's great for the coaches more than anything. Just the big rivalry games. And, a lot of the new guys, they didn't know what to expect. And, they were pretty hyped up. The whole team was good the entire game. And, Coach Tink preaches all the time, the juice level was high.
Yeah, no doubt. The crowd, juice level was high. The atmosphere was great. Big crowd again. It looks like you like the tight situations. You don't mind being in, nerve-wracking situations, big situations at quarterback. It was tight early on. Try to double reverse an interception was made. Then the next possession, you get it back. That was your interception on the double reverse. Then you throw an interception going in, but then you come out and just light it up the rest of the way. How do you come back after mistakes like that?
I think it's the week of preparation beforehand. And like Coach Udy, Coach Tinker, they do a great job with the offense, just preaching tempo, next play. When we play with the tempo that we do, mistakes are going to be made, and you can't dwell on them. Like first play of the year for me, you can't dwell on stuff like that. You just have to make it read, and you trust it, and if it doesn't go the right way, so what? Move on. And that's what we did. The whole offense, whole team as a whole really, made our mistakes, moved on, and really paid off well for us.
South Dakota Mines beating Black Hill State 46-17. Do you have to say that was one of your best feelings yet as a Hard Rocker?
Yes. Like I was telling a lot of people, it feels good to win. Any game, it feels good to win, but boy, it feels good to beat Black Hill State.
Yeah, just like that, in that fashion as well. Jake Sullivan goes for 369 yards, a couple of touchdowns through the air, a few touchdowns on the ground. It seems like you're really getting more and more comfortable running the offense. Is that the case?
Yeah, and I think as each game goes on, as each practice goes on, I'm getting just more confidence with the team as a whole, and then the other guys are getting more confidence. You see guys like Isaiah Manley making big plays. He might not make a lot of plays during the game, but the ones he makes are big plays. And Damon Barnes is really coming into his own. A lot of guys that you don't hear much about because you hear a lot about the Rashad Ridleys, the Marcus Sanchez, and it's nice when I can throw it to 10, 11 different guys during one game, so the defense can't key on just one guy.
I think the stat is the last couple of games, you've hit 10 different receivers in both games, and that's a testament to that, right? I mean, it seems like there's a lot of different weapons.
Yeah, tons of them, and it's truly a playmaker's paradise, and that's what Coach Tinker calls it, and that's how we live it, so it's fun.
Jake Sullivan on tonight, South Dakota Mines quarterback, junior for the Hard Rockers. They're 3-1. You have to talk about this start. You guys got to be feeling good right now. How do you keep the team dialed in? I mean, after a big win, 46-17 over the rival Black Hill State, all of a sudden you could start thinking, we're really good. We've got this. We're settling in. It's homecoming now. Adams State's coming in. How do you keep the guys dialed in here after a big win like that?
Well, one of our big things all year is going to be we were picked last in the conference. And, each conference game for us is a statement game. No matter how the week before went, the next game for us is a statement game. We got to prove people wrong all season. Because each team that we play now, they picked us as an automatic win, basically, for them coming up. So, great win against Black Hill State, great confidence booster. But we have to realize that game's over now. And now starting, Saturday night after the final seconds went off, it's Adams State week now. We enjoyed it while it lasted, but now, like I said, it's just on Adams State, and then after that, it's on to the next, and the next statement games for the rest of the year.
Let's go back a couple weeks. You played at Colorado State Pueblo. They're 5-time RMAC Conference champions. They won the national championship in Division II just 2 years ago. Really, really good program. You guys seem like you were competitive. Do you feel like you were competitive in that game, even though got a little bit ahead of you, couldn't quite keep up? Did you feel like you were up to their standards somewhat?
Yes, 100%. And it's sad to say it now, but looking back, gosh, we could have played with them the entire time. We just started off sluggish, and we couldn't really get a tempo going on offense. And our defense, they played well. We gave them 14 points from the offensive side, and we couldn't capitalize on a lot of things. And that's one of those games we wish you could go back and play it again.
Well, that's the only loss you have right now. The Hard Rockers 3-1. I'll let you run with this. You've been an aggressive player, running the ball, aggressive throwing the ball. Any thought in your mind that, I can't make a mistake here, I can't make a mistake there? How do you keep the aggressiveness, Jake, in your mind after there's a lot of things happening, but you like playing aggressively?
Yeah, I like pedal to the floor. I'm going 100 miles an hour. I've always been taught, make a mistake, make it 110 miles an hour. You can't go half and then make a mistake and then dwell on it. You can play as hard as you can, be aggressive. If it works out, great. If not, so what? I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep coming at you the whole game and just play with a relentless type, with a play style like that. And that's just how I've been brought up, and that's how Coach Tink and Coach Udy preach it here at Mines. And that's what we're going to do all season. We're going to come at you, and if you stop us one time, well, good for you, but we're going to keep coming at you.
Well, you've been doing it. Hard Rockers 3-1. Jake Sullivan leading the way, having a good start to the year, no doubt about it. And back at home Saturday night, a 6 o'clock kickoff on homecoming against Adams State. Jake, good luck on the studies tonight. Appreciate the time.
I appreciate it, Nate. Thanks for having me.
All right, Jake Sullivan tonight has had an unbelievable start to the year. If you like offensive football, it's really good stuff. I mean, it's really entertaining stuff. Works hard, plays hard, the whole offense, a lot of different weapons, a lot of points being put on the board for South Dakota Mines here early in the year. And the Hard Rockers are 3-1, shocking the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference in their first season in the conference. And back at home Saturday night, 6 o'clock kickoff, homecoming for the Hard Rockers as they take on Adams State, who just beat Chadron State. So look out. The matchup could be very interesting coming up on Saturday night. We'll get into the specifics of that game Saturday night, a huge one for South Dakota Mines as they could go to 4-1 under new head coach Zach Tinker, who joins us live next.
The reason I go to Pro Auto Care is they're always good to me. They've been my mechanics for 6 years. I take it in on a regular basis for the oil changes, things like that. If they find something else wrong with it, they let you know, hey, you're going to need this done, or you might want to consider doing this. It's not you need this done now. It's usually you can plan for it. They are the best. Wouldn't trust anybody with my vehicles but Pro Auto Care.
Pro Auto Care. Phone 342-0857, 1891 Rand Road, Rapid City. Getting you inside South Dakota sports. This is SD Sports Buzz Tonight with Nate Brown on Kim Radio. Talk that matters.
Quality and service first. Mel's Auto Body. Get a drive-through estimate or come on in. We're right here under the big red M. Over 30 years our family has put quality and service first. We take pride in making sure you're satisfied. Quality and service first. Mel's Auto Body.
Insurance. We all need it to protect our homes, health, businesses, and belongings. But having adequate coverage is just the beginning. You also need the support of professionals who stand by your side to protect what's important to you. Fisher Rounds & Associates combines the coverage you want with the commitment you need. Fisher Rounds & Associates. At your service, at your side. With offices in Pierre, Mitchell, Watertown, Sioux Falls, and Rapid City.
In Rapid City, you've got a friend in real estate. Hi, I'm Ellen Roach. When buying or selling your home or property, Will Dixon is the man to see.
Will invites you to experience the Keller Williams culture. Whether you're buying or selling, he can assist you through the entire process with a free market analysis and advise you on all your options. Will handles all phases of real estate and has built a track record for success. Call Will Dixon at Keller Williams Black Hills, 390-1140, and let him be your friend in real estate.
Welcome back to SD Sports Buzz tonight. If it's Wednesday night, we are live and local, 106.7 FM, Kim Talk Radio. We welcome you in. Hope you're having a good week. And also streaming online, watching the show wherever you may be at sdsportsbuzz.com. Glad you're a part of the program. Straight ahead, we'll talk to Wayne Sullivan, St. Thomas More head football coach. They play Douglas. And we'll talk to Coach Magic coming up as well. Coach Dan Maciejczak, head coach for the Patriots. The Patriots hosting St. Thomas More. The Cavaliers have been somewhat untouchable. They're really, really rolling this year, and they play at Douglas. We'll get a preview from both coaches straight ahead. Also, Rapid City Journal sports writer Richard Anderson will preview the weekend. Richard Anderson straight ahead. Glad to have head coach of the Hard Rocker football program on once again. Head coach is Zach Tinker, joins us on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. Coach, how are you?
Doing great tonight, Nate. How about you?
I'm doing well. I'm excited. It's homecoming for the Hard Rockers, and I wonder, you've been in this a long time now, coaching profession. On the homecoming week, there's a lot of things going on with the students and the student body, and that's exciting. And your players are obviously a part of the student body, and you got them dialed in on the things that they need to be preparing for and a very tight schedule and all the things you need to do to prepare. Does homecoming make a difference, all the hoopla and everything in on the mental side of it in the week leading up to this game?
Well, I think it can if you let it. I mean, at the end of the day, it is college football, and the purpose of college football is that we are student athletes. We are a critical component of the institution. We're involved in the homecoming activities. We want to be. It's part of the pageantry of the game. There's no other business like this in the world. There's nothing quite like college football Saturday, and anytime it's homecoming, that's a special week, and that's what it's all about. And if we were gonna say, hey, you know what, we're not really all that into the homecoming deal, we're not really all that fired up about it. That's called professional football. We don't do that here. You know, we're student athletes. We love the college experience. So I think for the players, the opportunity to have these quote-unquote distractions, I don't think it's an issue at all. I kind of enjoy the fact that we get to do this, and when you're an old guy like me, it's kind of fun to have a homecoming date every now and again. So I like getting out there and having fun, too.
Well, part of that deal will be like tomorrow morning. KOTA TV is going to be live tailgating at your practice. They're going to have barbecue from Texas Roadhouse and a pep rally going to be going on. And you guys are going to be practicing. You're going to be on live tomorrow at 6 a.m. So you like that. I mean, that's great for the program. You're going to have a little bigger crowd watching practice tomorrow.
Absolutely. I mean, it's great for the players. It's like a run through. You know, you get the chance to. All right, there's all these things going on around the stadium that really don't have anything to do with what's going on between the white lines. You know, that's really very similar to what a game is. You know, so why wouldn't you embrace that opportunity? I think it's outstanding. I wish the student body came to every practice. You know, shoot, I wish the whole town came to every practice and every game. You know, I think it's great and. Part of what we teach is how to lock in on our personal responsibilities and handle our business. You know, we talk every day in our program about accountability. We talk every day about putting your name on everything you do. So let's go out and have the best televised practice in the history of college football tomorrow.
It'll be really interesting. This whole week, a lot of fun. It's M Week for the Hard Rockers, homecoming, Saturday night kickoff at 6 p.m., as the Hard Rockers host Adams State. South Dakota Mines 3-1, a big win for Zach Tinker and the Hard Rockers this past week over Black Hill State. 46-17, Coach. It was comfortable later in the game, but not quite comfortable for the most part. It was still pretty tight. How did you see how that game developed, and what was the big difference defensively in the second half?
Well, it developed like rivalry games do a little bit, Nate, in that it's extremely emotional and there's big swings of momentum early in the game, and it's pretty rare that teams don't kind of go back and forth. And I think defensively in the first half we were not as sharp as we'd like to be from a mental standpoint. We missed a couple things, and then you know offensively we turned the ball over again in the second quarter a couple times when. You know, we really had a chance to take a little bit more control of the football game there in the second quarter. And I thought we kind of let the second quarter get away from us just a little bit. Came in at halftime, refocused, re-energized, and I thought then we just settled into just going out. Again, it's college football. It's totally natural to our boys. They've been playing football all their lives. The outcome of the game is going to be the outcome of the game. Let's go out and do our job. Let's do what we're supposed to do. Let's listen and take the coaching. Let's relax and have some fun out there, and not be. I thought we were maybe a little bit too juiced at times in that first half. And I thought once we settled into the game, I thought we played a really fantastic second half football. Outscored them 24-0 and put them away.
681 yards of total offense for the Hard Rockers. I mean, it was just unbelievable offensive performance on Saturday. What were you most happy with on that side?
Well, I thought our best players played their best. When you're in a big game, you need your best guys to step up. I thought our offensive line played with great consistency. They were very reliable the entire night. Our quarterback played really well. Jake Sullivan was really sharp, was explosive. Rashad Ridley, a senior, just explosive. Marcus Sanchez, Dorian Kohler, our best guys, just kept making plays, and that's really what it takes. When we looked at it at the end of the day, we really thought, like I said, I thought in that second quarter, I thought we left a few out there that we'd love to have back, where we could have produced a little more for the work we were putting in. But that's part of the growing process. We got to learn from it. We got to be sharper on offense. I've been pretty disappointed with the way we've functioned in the red zone, so we're fixing that up this week to be more proficient and efficient in the red zone. And I think you'll see a better version of the Hard Rockers as we go forward.
South Dakota Mines head coach Zach Tinker on tonight. In his first year as head coach, 3-1, off to a really good start in the RMAC, and it's homecoming Saturday night, 6 o'clock kickoff. Beautiful weekend for football, it seems like, coming up as the Hard Rockers will be hosting Adams State. I look at it, big win over Black Hills State, and the tendency for some programs, you've seen it, huge win over a rivalry. Next week, something, I don't know if it's not dialed in, not focused, however the game develops, you'll see a loss, and they call them trap games or letdowns. Is that something you ever get concerned about as you prepare this week? How do you make sure you move forward from last Saturday and get dialed in?
Yeah, you have to transition. We have a 24-hour rule here. No matter whether we win or lose, you got to get dialed back in after 24 hours, put the previous game to bed, and start working on the next opponent. That's how college football works. When you're dealing with young people, we're dealing with people that are oftentimes a little bit more emotional, have had fewer life experiences, and so some of the lessons that we've learned as old people, we try to impart those upon our kids, give them some of that wisdom of the things we've seen and the things we've experienced. Having said that, we've done some good things in practice this week, but yeah, you've seen some times where you say, whew, we got to get ourselves refocused a little bit, and that's natural. I mean, it just is, and you have to just go play the next play and get ready to go for that next game, and Adams State has our full attention right now. They're a talented team on offense and defense. I think their defense is really athletic. Offensively, they have some really good weapons, and they have a quarterback who keeps plays alive and can extend plays. And they just won their first game, so they have something that they didn't have before, which is a bunch of confidence in themselves, where they lost a couple close ones earlier in the year, and now they've won a close one against a really good Shattuck State team. So they got a ton of confidence coming up here, and I told our boys I'm fairly certain that Adams State isn't very impressed with the victory over Black Hills State. They just want to come up here and try to get a piece of the Hard Rockers. And so we're going to get our boys ready to go and make sure our focus is right. And I can't wait to show off our team to the fans on Saturday night.
By the way, if anything, they look at that victory, 46-17, an impressive win by you, and maybe it geeks them up a little more on the Adams State side. By the way, I look at this Adams State coach. I don't know if a lot of people realize it. Tim Rosenbaugh, really, really good experience. An offensive coordinator at Montana under Bobby Houck. They had a lot of success. An offensive coordinator just most recently at UNLV. This guy is a really good football guy. Talk about coaching against him.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback at Washington State. He played in the NFL for several years. Tim Rosenbaugh, and I don't like to say this to him too much. When I was probably in middle school time, he was the quarterback at Washington State. My entire family went to Washington State University, so my family bled crimson and gray. So, Tim Rosenbaugh was one of the first names of a football player I ever learned, where, hey, you got to know who this guy is. He's a quarterback of your team. So, I always get a kick out of sitting and talking with him because the guy's a great football player. He's a very intelligent offensive coach. He's really, really intense. And so I'm excited to kind of get out there and see him and see what his team is. His team has his personality. It's a tough-minded team. It's a team that has no quit in them. They've had some bad quarters in some games, and they just do not let up. They just come right back for more, and that's really his personality. That's kind of how he played, And really that's kind of how they play as well. They've really taken on his personality. So excited to see Coach Rosie up here, and it's going to be a good challenge. Fortunately, it's not going to be the best thing that's going to happen to the Hard Rockers is I'm not playing quarterback for South Dakota Mines, and he's not playing quarterback for Adams State. Because if that was the case, we would be in deep trouble.
I would like seeing that. It might be all right. Interesting storyline. Tim Rosenbaugh's Adams State Grizzlies come to take on the Hard Rockers on homecoming. Head coach at South Dakota Mines, Zach Tinker. Hard Rockers 3-1, trying to go to 4-1 Saturday night. You want to see it, 6 o'clock at O'Hara Stadium. Coach, I thank you.
Nate, I appreciate it as always. Thanks for your support of Hard Rocker football. Rock on.
There he is, Zach Tinker, tonight on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line here on SD Sports Buzz tonight. Off to a great start. And if you want exciting football, it's really been exciting football. That game Saturday night, huge crowd, great atmosphere, and another home game, and now it's homecoming, and a huge matchup for the Hard Rockers trying to go to 4-1. Really impressive early on, and Jake Sullivan's been really, really good. Had a huge game, Rapid City's own at quarterback. Check it out, Saturday night, 6 o'clock kickoff at O'Hara Stadium as South Dakota Mines takes on Adams State. We come right back and preview the weekend of football with Rapid City Journal sports writer Richard Anderson. Live next on SD Sports Buzz tonight, presented by Save-A-Lot Food Stores.
Paying 200, 2.25, 2 to the bid, 20 bomb, 50, want to get 250 here, 75, 275, now 3.
Hi, folks. Kevin McPherson Auction Company. We can turn your property to cash. We can sell your personal property and your real estate at auction. A family business for 64 years and counting. We've sold several millions of dollars in property over the years. We're happy to consult with you on your auction plans. Let our selling experience work for you. Call McPherson Auction, 605-348-1369. Visit us on our web at McPhersonAuction.com.
Sold it here for $575.
How would you like to have your crown in 2 hours instead of 2 visits? Hi, this is Dr. Eldon Rice with Rice Area Dental in Rapid City. Technology is changing, and at Rice Area Dental, we are keeping up by using the latest state-of-the-art equipment. We offer crowns in hours instead of days. No more temporaries, no more multiple visits, no messy dental impressions, just same-day restorations.
Call us at 342-RICE. That's 342-7423. Dr. Rice Area Dental on Canyon Lake Drive, the dentist that makes you smile.
You've got it locked on South Dakota's sports talk show, SD Sports Buzz tonight with Nate Brown on Kim Radio. Talk that matters. Your local Farm Bureau Financial Services agent Tom Berger in Rapid City realizes that farming and ranching is your livelihood, and he understands that. After all, the companies of Farm Bureau Financial Services were originally founded to serve the unique insurance and financial services needs of farmers and ranchers. Contact Farm Bureau agent Tom Berger in Rapid City to learn how he can make it simple to help you select the coverage that's right for you today and provide options for the future of your growing operation.
Call me, Tom Berger, your Farm Bureau agent in Rapid City at 348-3470.
Get a great deal on your favorite Chevy. Save 16% off MSRP on remaining Silverado, Malibu, and Cruise inventory. That's a savings of over $7,000 when you buy a Silverado. Just think of all the things you can buy with that extra cash. Maybe a first car for your newly licensed kid, or maybe even just paying off some bills. However you choose to spend that extra cash. Our friendly staff is here to help you get started. Your new road starts here. Feel the difference at Rapid Chevrolet.
Welcome back to SD Sports Buzz tonight with Nate Brown, presented by Save-A-Lot Food Stores on East St. Patrick Street in Rapid City for the best prices on groceries and meat. Specials on meat, cut in-store daily. Go to Save-A-Lot Food Stores, East St. Patrick Street here in Rapid City. SD Sports Buzz tonight, also streaming online at SDSportsBuzz.com. Guy we like talking to, does a nice job writing for the Rapid City Journal. Rapid City Journal sports writer Richard Anderson joins us on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. Richard, how are you?
I'm doing great. Nate, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. You've been all over, man. You're seemed like a one-man wrecking crew for the Rapid City Journal. You're up at this game, down to this game, going all over, trying to beat the deadlines and everything like that. I know one game you were at was, and a lot of people were at, the Black Hills Brawl, 131st matchup, South Dakota Mines beating Black Hills State 46-17. Great atmosphere, great crowd. Were you surprised by how things unfolded in that second half?
Well, you're always surprised when a team just kind of takes control of a close game like that, and it really was. I mean, it's 22-17 at halftime, and really could have gone either way. Black Hills is probably a play or two away from taking a lead type of situation. So when the Hard Rockers, just took control, they did. I mean, they dominated every phase of the game in the second half, and I'm not surprised because they have the ability. I was just a little surprised that it ended up turning out that way. I thought it was going to be another nail biter.
Well, and we usually don't see those blowout games in that rivalry. We really haven't for a long time. It's been close lately. I want to know what your rating was and evaluation of Jake Sullivan here in the beginning of this year. Hard Rockers are 3-1. He's running for 3 touchdowns a game and throwing 2-3 touchdowns a game, 369 yards through the air on Saturday night. What's been your evaluation of Rapid City's Jake Sullivan? He looks really, really good.
Well, he does, and if you watched Jake, at St. Thomas More, you knew he had the ability to do that. But you just never know what's going to happen on the college level, and he's just taking it and pun intended run with it, because I'm impressed obviously with his throwing, but he's hard to stop. He just takes that little draw up the middle and goes.
I tell you, and his running ability, like you said, is a dual threat deal. And I go to as far as this. I've seen a lot of teams in the RMAC. I don't think I've seen everybody like you have over the last couple of years, as you've covered a lot of games. But I look at the RMAC, and I wonder, outside of the quarterback down at Colorado Mines, who's probably a National Player of the Year candidate, Harlan Hill candidate, I wonder if Jake Sullivan's right in the mix as far as quarterbacks in the RMACs is one of the best.
Well, I agree. I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, it's every quarterback. I mean, this is an offensive league, the RMAC, and so just about every school is going to have a pretty decent quarterback. And so, when you start putting the numbers up there, I think at the end of the season you're going to see Jake up there. I do say that I was a little disappointed that he didn't get the RMAC Offensive Player of the Week this week. I thought that kind of just turned into a little bit of the fact that he's from School of Mines. That probably, if you flip a coin, that's probably the reason why he didn't get it.
Yeah, right. I think who was it? The running back at Western State, right? Who's a real player? We know that.
And he had a great week too. But when you added up the total yards and the touchdowns, Jake actually topped him. But they beat a ranked team, so it's understandable why they picked him. I just would have liked to see somebody out here get that honor once in a while.
Talking to Richard Anderson, you can read his stuff in the Rapid City Journal. Sports writer for the Journal joins us on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. How do you see these next few games going and this season going for Black Hill State and South Dakota Mines? I look at it, the Hard Rockers have an opportunity. It's not a gimme per se this weekend. Adams State just beat Chadron State. Adams State took Black Hill State to the wire in the opening game. So I see the Hard Rockers next couple of weeks potential there, and then I look at Black Hill State and the Hard Rockers schedule later on, and it gets tough. It's Colorado Mines, it's Colorado Mesa, it's Western State. How do you see these two teams going the rest of the way?
Well, it is. That's that is an extremely tough schedule. I mean, you got to pick up these wins when you can, and this weekend will be, I think, really critical for both teams because Adams State is a good team. They can knock you off, and if Mines doesn't come out and take the game serious, which I have no doubt that they will. I mean, their coaching staffs is too good to let them think that they're just going to cruise. They're going to have to play at their best. And the same thing can be said at Black Hills, even though it's homecoming and they're against a winless team. If you look at some of the stats for New Mexico Highlands, that's not very good at all. And but you still got to go out and win, and that's one thing that even though Black Hills is 3-1 and they've got some great wins this year, there's always that doubt that's going to creep up a little bit with them. So you got to come out and take business because, it's going to be extremely tough from the rest of the year, and you just got to take those wins when you can get them.
I know. Looking at the schedule in the RMAC, there's not an easy week. I mean, New Mexico Highlands hasn't won, but they've been competitive. Adams State just won their first game, and it was over Chadron State. So, I mean, there's no gimme weeks in the RMAC, and that's what I see. Black Hill State taking on New Mexico Highlands, and, of course, the Hard Rockers have homecoming Saturday night, 6 o'clock kickoff, 3-1 South Dakota Mines against Adams State. Hard Rockers trying to move to 4-1. Let's get into high school really quick before I let you run. I look at the high school scene here. Rapid City Central and Rapid City Stevens. When you look at those two teams, I think you've seen them a little bit. Who do you think's stronger right now? Who's positioned stronger, Stevens or Central? Because I don't think the gap is really that big. You may say Stevens, but I think Central's come along.
Well, I do too, and I'll be anxious to see how that matchup goes at the end of the year because I think this is a year that Central really has a chance to knock them off. But with that being said, I think Stevens is probably a little stronger in a few areas, and so you just don't know. I mean, all depends. The thing about them playing at the end of the year is. Both teams will probably, be a little worn out and a little nicked up from several weeks of Sioux Falls schools. So it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a lot better game than it has been.
Hey,
no doubt about it.
I look at it, Richard. You've been covering it now for a while, as I have. I look at Stevens and Central though, and I think those teams are better this year than we've seen the last couple of years. I mean, is that accurate?
Yeah.
It seems like those programs are making steps.
I believe that too, and I especially think Central is. I think because obviously they had a tough go the last couple of years. I mean, compared to the last couple of years, they are a night and day improved.
How about St. Thomas More on the 11A ranks? St. Thomas More not being touched out here. I mean, I think that's pretty accurate. Weird things can happen, I understand, but it seemed like they got most of their tough games out of the way early, and they weren't very tough. St. Thomas More, you think they make a run? I just had Craig Maddock on from Sioux Falls. He says he's got St. Thomas More at the Dome. I don't know if I can go that far yet.
Well, I never try to make those type of predictions because if I do, I get reminded of it at the end of the year when I'm wrong.
That's why we have you on. Come on. That's why we put you on the spot.
I'm just glad I don't have to do any weekly picks like I used to do when I was in Wyoming because I had every friend that I had told me that week that they picked better than I did that week, and so I made them prove it. And so, but I think they're obviously the cream of the crop here, and as year in year out, and they probably their toughest game early was Hot Springs, and they handled Hot Springs. Spearfish possibly could give them a run, but I just don't know how much.
They got Douglas this week. Douglas has kind of been there competitive. They fight so hard, they play so hard. I don't see it this year though. I don't see it.
Yeah. Well, Douglas is they've shown, up and down. I mean, they've they got a couple wins. But they've struggled at times. They just don't quite have the all-around players as they had a couple years ago. But yeah, you're right about the STM games. Seems like every year it's just kind of a dogfight between them, and I know covering them last week and talking to one of the players, they're excited about playing STM and this week, and we'll see what happens.
Yep, Friday night out at Box Elder. The Patriots always play tough at home, but they've got their hands full with a crisp team right now. St. Thomas More is rolling. Preston Arity is rolling. Jake Anderud, one of his top weapons, really, really good. We're going to talk to Coach Magic coming up next. Follow Richard Anderson on Twitter. You can do it at RCJ Anderson, at RCJ Anderson. Richard Anderson, Rapid City Journal. Good to have you on. We'll do it again. Thanks.
Well, I hope so. Good talking to you, Nate.
All right. Richard Anderson, appreciate his time. Does a nice job at the Rapid City Journal. Joins us on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. Let's talk to Coach Magic. Dan Machachek, head coach for Douglas, previews the St. Thomas More matchup. Live next.
This summer, get a great deal on your favorite Chevy. Save 16% off MSRP on remaining Silverado, Malibu, and Cruise inventory. That's a savings of over $7,000 when you buy a Silverado. Just think of all the things you can buy with that extra cash. Maybe a first car for your newly licensed kid, or maybe even just paying off some bills. However you choose to spend that extra cash. Our friendly staff is to help you get started. Your new road starts here. Feel the difference at Rapid Chevrolet.
Dale's Tire and Retreading has been providing quality brands of tires and excellent service to the Black Hills area for over 50 years. Dale's Tires sells tires for cars, trucks, SUVs, agriculture, construction, and more. Dale's Tire has what you need when you need it and offers appointment times to get you in and out faster. See the experts at Dale's Tire and Retreading. 2 convenient locations in Rapid City, 691 Deadwood Avenue and 3200 Campbell Street. Dale's Tire and Retreading. Looking for a winning team to follow this summer? Check out the Black Hills unbeatable tandem of Xerox and the color experts at Matheson's. Hit a home run with the Xerox Workcenter MFP today, and you'll be able to print, copy, and scan your crucial business documents and marketing materials just like the pros do. Matheson's cost per copy program is the safe play every time. You pay nothing up front for the equipment, and the high cost of supplies and repairs become a nightmare of the past. Visit the Matheson's team of Xerox All-Stars at 324 St. Joe Street, downtown Rapid City, or at mathesons.com. Real South Dakota sports talk for real South Dakota sports fans. This is SD Sports Buzz Tonight with Nate Brown on Kim Radio. Talk that matters.
Welcome back. Nate Brown live, 106.7 FM, Kim Talk Radio, and online streaming at sdsportsbuzz.com. Remember to go to sdsportsbuzz.com for all your West River, South Dakota sports news. It's all right there, college to high school. sdsportsbuzz.com, and the interviews from tonight archived right there on Thursday. So every Wednesday we get a rundown, we recap the previous weekend, we preview the upcoming football weekend, and all the interviews, all your game notes right there at sdsportsbuzz.com. Every interview from tonight archived. You can listen to each one at your own convenience. Easy to do. SD Sports Buzz Tonight is presented by Save-A-Lot Food Stores, a proud sponsor of South Dakota High School Athletics. I'm glad to have them present the program. On the show tonight, we've had him before. Always good to talk to him. Does a great job out at Douglas. Patriots head coach Dan Machachek. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you this evening?
Doing good. I'm doing good. I want to talk to you about this season here. You guys are 2-3. I think I put my finger on it. You got young guys. Sometimes we're up, sometimes we're down. You're dealing with high school kids. Big win over Brookings, double OT. Then you surprise me, and I'm not saying Spearfish is a bad loss, but you get shut out. You lose to Spearfish 20-0. What are you putting your finger on here?
Well, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. You know, we got a young football team. We have high school young men, which everybody does, and I think the emotion of the game is high and low for us, and I think further than that is our prep week. On how we prepare and how the kids are mentally and locked into the game. So I think going into Brookings, our kids were beyond locked in all week. We threw a lot of stuff at our kids to kind of put some wrinkles in, and they were focused. And we went out and played 4 quarters plus 2 overtimes. About as well as we had played all year. And then you turn around, that Spearfish week, and I think our kids are just kind of still riding the high of that game, and I try to give them every example of why not to. But, I mean, you can pound in the kids' heads as much as you want, but they're going to believe what they're going to believe, and we just were kind of flat. And, we lost to a good Spearfish football team, but I thought that was a game that we kind of let slip away as far as our overall effort and our just want to win. And then we turn around this week and played a tough situation, with the lightning and the stopping. We came out like gangbusters and looked good. We were up 20-0. We scored 20 that first quarter, looking pretty good. And then the lightning started, and then you had to turn around and play on a Saturday with nothing. And we looked good on defense, and we're very stagnant on offense.
Yeah, it's. I look at these numbers. 27-0 win over Sturgis this past week. You put up 27 points again against Brookings a couple of weeks ago. Then to the other 3 games combined, you've scored 6 points. Have you been able to figure out what the story is there?
Man, I wish I could, because if I did, I think I'd be sleeping a lot better every single week. But I think, when you look at it, it's never one thing for us, and I think that's when you're young, that's what happens. It's not where I can say it's my offensive guard or it's my running back or my quarterback or we're not tackling. I think, every play, when we're not playing well on offense, it's one guy missing a block, one missed handoff, one drop ball, and we get on the Debbie Downer on that type of situation. And we talk about quicksand all the time, and I think when you're young and we don't have any true positive leaders that have been on that field, getting that live action a lot, I think nobody has anybody really to look to, and we kind of fall apart and we sink a little bit. So I think for the games that we're struggling with and we're not winning, we're not producing on offense. And, it's just like I said, it's not one thing. It's multiple of different things.
Dan Maciejczak on tonight, Douglas head football coach. The Patriots are hosting St. Thomas More this week. He joins us on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. You talked about it a little bit. That was a weird situation Friday. You play a little while, lightning, all that. You can't even continue later into the night. Okay, we come back Saturday. Stevens had to do the same thing in these other teams. That was just bizarre. Have you had to do that? Have you had to deal with that? How did you handle that?
I've never had to do that in the history of me playing football or coaching football. And I've played for a long time, and I've coached for quite a long time. So it was a tough thing to handle. We came in there were still 3 minutes left at half. Made the kids quiet in the locker room. We made some changes, made them take their shoulder pads off because we knew that it was a 30-minute wait no matter what. You want to keep them hydrated, threw some extra water in there. And then you could hear the lightning, and I have this little app on my phone, and it'll tell you last lightning strike. And I think when we went in, it was at 7 miles was the one, and then all of a sudden it was 0.0 and 0.0. And then the ref said, okay, we're going to go out 20 minutes. And, as it goes, we didn't. But I knew that at some point, it was our homecoming game, too. So I know that, of course, everybody wants to play football at homecoming. But, they have a dance, and they paid for all the DJs and all that fun stuff. So in the real world, I knew it wasn't going to happen too well, but, we turned around so the kids had the dance, and I told them to go to the dance, enjoy it. We tried to put a midnight curfew on that, which you don't always know if they're going to hold up to that end. But then you turn around and you come back, and it's a Saturday, and none of our kids have played on a Saturday, middle of the afternoon, which they haven't done that since JV. And then you turn around and, like I said in the paper, and upset our cheerleading coach and stuff. But, we didn't have our cheerleaders weren't there. We didn't have the band. The atmosphere we had for Friday night was awesome. It was a big crowd. Things were good. And then you just got to kind of get self-revved up. And when you got a young team, you kind of struggle. But thank goodness our defense came out and played well still. Offensively, moved the ball, and we struggled a little bit. But when you're up 27-0, I was trying to burn through stuff and kind of work on our basic things. I didn't want to throw anything crazy and, I guess, spoil the fun for this week.
Well, you got through it. It's not ideal. You don't have fans there. It was just a bizarre deal for not only you, but Stevens had to do the same thing with Roosevelt the next day. Just a bizarre deal. You get through it. You win 27-0. So Douglas now 2-3. Here's what I've talked about in this matchup with St. Thomas More Friday is you guys are always seeming like you're raring and ready, and maybe that's just because everybody seems like they get geeked up for St. Thomas More, but you guys have been competitive with them, especially early in games, even when you haven't had great years. Why do you think you guys will be ready?
Well, I think, for us, it seems like we gear up for the big games, and we've had like I said, the Brookings game, which nobody thought we would win. And to be honest with you, I wasn't too sure if we could win that game, but I was hoping to play close. And our kids enjoy the challenge, and I think that's one of the great things about playing STM is they're very well coached. They're always talked about. They're always on top of the leaderboard, and and I stress to my kids that to be the best, you got to beat the best. And on our schedule right now, St. Thomas More is a darn good football team. They're undefeated. They've looked darn good while they do it. So we've had to put in some different things so that we feel like we can be competitive. And I think that our kids love to be challenged. They don't like that theory that let's just keep it simple, stupid. And so they really enjoy it. And they seem to be the type of kids that enjoy the huge opportunity to play a great football team like St. Thomas More. So I think, I think we're ready to go, and the kids I know are excited to play. And, the key of St. Thomas More is turnovers. You can't kill yourself for turnovers because they are very good at creating turnovers and taking huge advantage of that. So I think if we can slow them down, not give up the big plays that they are accustomed to getting, and force them to play football, and we can do our style, which is going to be, we're a ground and pound football team, and we're going to hit you in the mouth and a lot of physical play. If we can do that, hopefully we can tire them out and take them into that fourth quarter and maybe come away with the win.
When you look at St. Thomas More, they're always fast. They have skill players, and they're always fast. That's one of the big attributes is speed. Is that the tough thing to deal with, speed?
I think it is, because you can't mimic speed, the same way as, when we play Harrisburg, you can't dictate 6'4", 300-pound offensive linemen when you don't have them. And I'm too old to suit up. But so that speed thing is tough. And so, we take different approaches, at practice when we're running scout offense. We don't use the football so that we can, we can be sound in our schemes as far as what we got to do. And we just kind of, make the jump on every coverage, and if it's a pass play, because they run a lot of motion, and they, like I said, they utilize their speed very well. And until you get in the game situation and see how fast that kid is that's running jet sweep, or how fast those two kids are that are running the vertical routes, there's no way to kind of dictate that. So one of the things that we do is we don't use a football, in that type of situation, so we can kind of maybe mimic the speed a little bit. And the other thing that we've done is, when we line up, we stretch our receivers. We start them, the wideouts at 5 yards to 7 yards past the line of scrimmage. So that way we can kind of give a faster look to our safeties if we're playing in a cover 2 look or cover 4, so they can maybe get the tendencies to read a little bit quicker. Because in the game, that's kind of what happens is, they run the ball outside, and they think they take good angles, and we're backwards, 4-yard angle, and that guy breaks for a touchdown. So that's the things that we try to do. And they're a good football team, and they're on the top all the time for a reason, so we'll see.
I'll let you run with this. Dan Machacek on tonight, Douglas head coach. They host St. Thomas More Friday night out at Patriot Stadium. Preston Airdy, the St. Thomas More quarterback, had a great year last year in his first year starting, and a great year, and he just continues that, it seems like. Where does he fit in as far as the St. Thomas More quarterbacks you've seen over the years?
He's up there, and that's a fun thing to look at is, you look at St. Thomas More, and they've had some darn good quarterbacks, and I think the best one they've had has been, and is paying off when you look at it, is I watched Jake Sullivan just the other night when they played Black Hills State, and, Coach Reiners is my old roommate from college, so, I love the guy to death, but, Jake, he was good, and he was darn good in high school, and I remember he started at a young age, and people around town said, well, I don't know if he's that good because his dad's a head coach, and I don't care who his dad is. That kid is a good football player. So, when you look at this kid that's playing now, he has a lot of similar traits. He can run the ball fairly well. He sees the field well. He throws to open windows. He's a quarterback and the true leader of their offense. You can see him kind of slow tempo down when it needs to slow. You can see him get the ball into his hands and make some nice throws to kind of pick his team up when they need to get going. So, he's up there as far as I see, but the best one I've seen in my time here has been Jake. So, is
Airdy college-level quarterback, you think?
Oh, yeah. I say definitely. He's definitely, have I would say, great opportunities. He sees the field well. Like I said, he's got a good, strong arm. And the thing I tell people is when you get a quarterback in college, they're going to break them down and kind of fix their technique and stuff, and he has all the natural attributes. I don't know how tall he is exactly, but, he's a fairly tall kid. He's got a good quick release, and he reads the field, and he's a very confident kid. When he sees that open area, he's going to throw the ball, and unfortunately for us, 9 times out of 10, he'll throw a dime.
Tough duty, tough matchup Friday. Douglas at home against St. Thomas More. Head coach of the Patriots, Dan Machacek. Always good to talk to you, Coach. Thanks.
Hey, thank you for covering us. We always appreciate that.
All right, Dan Machacek tonight. Coach Magic out there at Douglas. Matchup against St. Thomas More Friday night, Patriot Stadium. He joined us on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. A preview from the other side. We'll talk to St. Thomas More's Wayne Sullivan He'll join us live next. This is SD Sports Buzz Tonight, presented by Save-A-Lot Food Stores in Rapid City.
Rapid City Central Cobblers football is on the air 7 o'clock this Friday night as the Cobblers host the Brandon Lynx. Brian Fisher here inviting you to join me for the play-by-play coverage of the Cobblers and the Lynx 7 o'clock this Friday night. Brought to you by these community-minded high school sports sponsors: Pro Auto Care, Fisher Rounds Insurance Agency, McPherson Auction Company, Farm Bureau Financial Services Agent Tom Berger, Dakota Discount RV, Rapid Chevrolet Cadillac, Dale's Tire, Matheson's Printing, and Rice Area Dental on Kim Radio. Talk that matters. Listen to what Pro Auto Care customers have to say.
You definitely can trust Tom and Carl and Chris. They are very good mechanics. They always do what's best for their customers and their customers' vehicles. They will always let you know the problems completely before they do any work on your vehicle. And since I've met Tom, I won't take my car anyplace but Pro Auto Care.
Pro Auto Care. Phone 342-0857, 1891 Rand Road, Rapid City.
When it comes to protecting your home and your belongings, what works for your neighbor most likely won't work for you. Insurance is personal, and that's why the coverage specialists at Fisher Rounds & Associates work with you to tailor a policy that protects your family, home, auto, and other valuable possessions at the most reasonable cost possible. We sweat the small and the big stuff, so you don't have to. That's at your service, at your side. Fisher Rounds & Associates, with offices in Pierre, Mitchell, Rapid City, Sioux Falls, and Watertown.
We're back on SD Sports Buzz tonight. Busy show, a big weekend of football coming up. It's Nate Brown getting you ready on 106.7 FM, Kim Talk Radio. Welcome in wherever you may be listening. If it's Wednesday night, it's South Dakota Sports Talk night, and also streaming online at sdsportsbuzz.com, where you can hear the interviews archived tomorrow. Anybody on this program tonight, their interview archived at sdsportsbuzz.com. Tomorrow you can get a preview from all the coaches and student-athletes we've had on the program. Still more to come. Rob Sales straight ahead, head coach at Rapid City Central, as they are at home against Brandon Valley. Tough go for the Cobblers. This is kind of their tough stretch. They were at Sioux Falls, Washington last week, now at home against a solid Brandon Valley team. We'll talk to Rob Sales for Central straight ahead. On the other side of that matchup we've been looking at, Friday night at a Patriot Stadium, it'll be Douglas, St. Thomas More. We've seen some interesting ones over the years with the Patriots and the Cavaliers. And on the other side now is St. Thomas More head football coach Wayne Sullivan joins us on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. Coach, how are you?
Doing great, Nate. Thanks for having me on.
I want to ask you about this game. Before we get to talk high school and your guys, Jake Sullivan, your son, had a phenomenal game. It was a great atmosphere. It was really exciting on Saturday night in the win over Black Hill State. I think he got robbed on the RMAC Player of the Week. By the way, that's my opinion. Okay, I can throw that out there for you. Just a huge game, huge team win, 46-17 over Black Hill State. And after the game, I saw you got a little emotional with Jake. You were a little emotional. Why'd you get emotional, Coach? What was the deal?
Well, like I said, there was a couple of years there when I didn't get to watch him play. His senior year was cut short when he had his leg broke. And just be able to watch him play and kind of lead the team, that was pretty emotional. Yeah, I saw that.
You guys embraced. You were excited. What did you think of that whole scenario Saturday night? What was that like? It sure seems like, boy, Jake, not only Jake, but the whole team and that atmosphere that night, it seemed electric.
It was very electric, and I tell you what, those are the fun games to watch. Those that have a lot riding on it, those rivalries. Again, just to watch him be able to do what he does, and I was very proud of him. I was nervous the whole entire game because, again, probably more nervous watching him than I was coaching him. But it was just a great atmosphere and looking for good things out of both programs.
I'll tell you what, Jake Sullivan has been running for touchdowns. You've been seeing this, Coach. I mean, this is your son. He's been running for all these touchdowns, and I'm starting to wonder, why didn't Wayne Sullivan have him run more in high school? I mean, you didn't have him run all the time.
Because I was always worried about getting him injured.
That's what I was wondering. I knew you might say that. And by the way, bad injury for him. We all remember that senior year, bad injury. But man, he just tell him to get down a little bit more. Get down a little bit.
Exactly. At least now he slides in college. That's great.
Yeah, you're gonna get hit, no doubt. Great game for him. All right, let's get on to high school football. You guys have just been rolling. This stretch here, Lee Deadwood, really comfortable win. Custer, really comfortable win. How do you ratchet it up here? I mean, those games are grinders just from a standpoint of 55-0, 66-16, meaning the test wasn't there. How do you ratchet your guys up and keep them dialed in midway through here?
Well, this whole week we've been telling them that it doesn't matter what the records are when we play Douglas. Douglas is going to play us their absolute best football game. Coach Magic does a wonderful job of getting them prepared, and I know they will. They'll come in prepared. He's going to throw everything at us. He'll throw new things at us. He's going to get those kids believing in whatever they run. It's going to be the perfect thing for us. And that's what makes this game special. And our kids do look at this game as a rivalry game. And so when we go in this week, we've been working hard, a lot harder. We've made practices harder than our last games have been. And so we've just been kind of getting after it this week.
I was wondering about that. Do you ever get worried about, getting practice cranked up as a high level? Sometimes you need to do that, but you ever get worried about the physicality here midway through the year, trying to get your guys ready in practice when you have to ratchet it up like that?
No, not really, because a lot of the things we do in drills, it's not bringing kids to the ground, but it's just technique, rep and rep and rep, and make sure they do it right. And if they don't, we do it again. And we have a new running drill. We call it the 6-second drill. So we sprint 6 seconds, rest 6 seconds, and repeat that. We did that for about 20 minutes, and I tell you what, they were dog-tired.
You're working them hard, trying to get ready. You said it, Douglas, over the years, even when they haven't had great years, they sometimes get after you a little bit early on, and maybe you've started a little bit slow, but you've handled them every time in recent memory. You've handled them every time, even though a couple of them have been somewhat tight. This Douglas team is young. You say Coach Magic throws in new stuff. Is it hard to prepare for somebody that on the other side like that you never really quite know what may happen?
Well, one of the things we always stress then is you got to do the little things. Still got to read your keys, still got to make sure and finish. It all comes down to fundamental football. We got to hold our blocks longer. We got to make sure and make good tackles. And when we run the ball, we got to secure the ball. So those are the things that we're concentrating on this week. Control what we can control. Doesn't matter what they come out with, whether it be reverse pass, whether it be they line up and try and run right at us and smack us in the mouth. We got to do the little things right.
Is that one of the threats that you see from Douglas? Is Coach Magic said, we play smash mouth. We're going to try and go right at you. Is that something you expect?
Oh, definitely. And every year they do, and they have some success. So we've got to do the little things, and we can't shoot ourselves in the foot. We can't give up penalties, turnovers. Just again, back to playing solid, sound football.
St. Thomas More head coach Wayne Sullivan on. Before I let you go, you guys have just been rolling offensively. Is the offense right where you want it to be? Is the offense crisp, clean? Is it right where you want to be? Sometimes over the years you see some penalties and you see some mental miscues. How are you playing offensively?
I'll tell you Friday night about 9:30. We've been doing some good things, but we can always get better. And the best thing is film doesn't lie. And so when we go over that and we show our kids, if we can get better every week, I do like our progress. And again, Preston has done a phenomenal job this year. He does have full reign. If he sees anything, he can check right out of it. And he's done a great job of that this year. We've worked on that a little bit more this year, especially this week, because there might be some different things he throws at us. So we've got to make sure we have something to complement it. Because what we try and tell our offense and sell to them is whatever the defense gives us, they're going to be wrong. Because we have something that we can do against that.
Preston Arity, I've talked about it earlier. He, started last year and really had a phenomenal year. Really did a lot of great things. Now he's come along even this year. Where do you think he's made the most progress? What are you most happy with quarterback play?
I think this year he's more mature in the aspect that he slowed the game down. Because last year he had 4 wideouts that he could throw any of them at any time. And this year we have great athletes, but he's really slowed it down. He's been able to scan the field, see what he has, and I think that's one of the best things he's improved on, is being smart during the game.
Preston Arity and St. Thomas More visit Douglas. Cavaliers head coach Wayne Sullivan trying to stay undefeated as they go out to Patriot Stadium on Friday. Coach, always appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Nate.
Wayne Sullivan tonight giving us a preview. Cavaliers, Patriots, it's, they talk about it being a rivalry, and it kind of is. I mean, kind of one of those, you have to go back quite a few years. I mean, quite a few years to see Douglas have some of the success. I mean, back to Coach Magic, when he was playing, they had some success. But St. Thomas More's really controlled it lately. But it still kind of feels like that. You never know. Can Douglas do some things? It seems like every year we always talk about that going into this game, and I guess that's kind of what it feels like, a rivalry. Both teams have had, Douglas has had some success too in some of their other games. Take a look at that one Friday. I talked about it earlier in the program. I think St. Thomas More is, going to win that pretty comfortably, but we'll see. We shall see. We come right back and talk to Central head coach Rob Sales. He's building that program. He's doing a better job there for this program. I think that's coming along. I really do. The Cobblers have a tough test at home Friday against Brandon Valley. Coach Rob Sales live next on SD Sports Buzz tonight.
In Rapid City, you've got a friend in real estate. Hi, I'm Ellen Roach. When buying or selling your home or property, Will Dixon is the man to see.
Will invites you to experience the Keller Williams culture. Whether you're buying or selling, he can assist you through the entire process with a free market analysis and advise you on all your options. Will handles all phases of real estate and has built a track record for success. Call Will Dixon at Keller Williams Black Hills, 390-1140, and let him be your friend in real estate.
And 200, 2 and a quarter, 2 to the bid, 1 bomb, MVP, money get 200, MVP, here, no 75, 275, now 3.
Hi, folks. Kevin McPherson Auction Company. We can turn your property to cash. We can sell your personal property and your real estate at auction. A family business for 64 years and counting. We've sold several millions of dollars in property over the years. We're happy to consult with you on your auction plans. Let our selling experience work for you. Call McPherson Auction, 605-348-1369. Visit us on our web at McPhersonAuction.com.
Sold it here for $575.
How would you like to have your crown in 2 hours instead of 2 visits? Hi, this is Dr. Eldon Rice with Rice Area Dental in Rapid City. Technology is changing, and at Rice Area Dental, we are keeping up by using the latest state-of-the-art equipment. We offer crowns in hours instead of days. No more temporaries, no more multiple visits, no messy dental impressions, just same-day restorations.
Call us at 342-RICE. That's 342-7423. Dr. Rice Area Dental on Canyon Lake Drive, the dentist that makes you smile.
You're listening to SD Sports Buzz tonight with Nate Brown on Kim Radio. Talk that matters.
At Farm Bureau, we know life insurance might not be the first thing on your mind today or any other day, but we also know that deep down, everyone wants to do the right thing for their family, and that means protecting what matters most. You might not want to think about life insurance right now, but right now is the right time to talk to a Farm Bureau agent. We'll make it easy for you. Farm Bureau agents make insurance simple.
Call me, Tom Berger, your Farm Bureau agent in Rapid City, at 348-3470.
Welcome back. SD Sports Buzz tonight with Nate Brown, presented by Save-A-Lot Food Stores for the best prices on groceries in Rapid City. Get in and get your deals at Save-A-Lot. Save-A-Lot, East St. Patrick Street in Rapid City. Great grocery store, has just about everything you need. Produce, fresh meat, pork chops, steaks, specials. Save-A-Lot on East St. Patrick Street in Rapid City. We're live 106.7 FM, Kim Talk Radio, where you can hear Rapid City Central hosting Brandon Valley on Friday night here on 106.7 Kim Talk Radio. Also, remember, you can hear all the interviews from tonight's show archived at sdsportsbuzz.com tomorrow. All the coaches we have on tonight, all those interviews archived right there for eternity. I don't know about for eternity, but right there at sdsportsbuzz.com. You can listen to them like head coach Rapid City Central Cobblers. We've had him on all season. Always appreciate his time, giving us a preview of the Cobblers' upcoming game in their home against Brandon Valley. Head coach is Rob Sales. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing quite well tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I want to get your take on this, this toughest question of the whole time here. This is the toughest question, the whole experience you'll have on this program. You played at Black Hill State. We know that. You played at Black Hill State. We're a linebacker for the Yellow Jackets. You coached with Stacy Collins at South Dakota Mines. You know, we visited a little bit there on Saturday night as you went to the Black Hills Brawl. Which way are you leaning there? I mean, that's kind of tough. You played for the Yellow Jackets. You coached for the Hard Rockers. That's a tough deal, man. I mean, this is the toughest question of the night. What's the story?
Well, you always gotta go where you played. You know, you always gotta pull for the Jackets, no matter what.
All right.
There is a little bit on that mind side. You know, some of them boys that I coached are still playing, and so you always like to see those guys do well. You always like to see those guys have some success. But we want the scoreboard to make sure it goes the right way. And, last week it just didn't.
No, that's right. That is right. But it's kind of a silver lining for you a little bit, right? I mean, maybe a little bit. It's not like Black Hill State got beat by Colorado Mines. At least you have a connection with South Dakota Mines. So a little bit of a silver lining.
Yeah, I guess if you can dig real deep and try to find one.
It doesn't sound like it. It really doesn't sound like it. All right, I had to put you on the spot there. Let's talk about Cobbler football. You're back at home. That trip last week out to Sioux Falls, playing unbeaten Sioux Falls, Washington. What was your take on that? I don't want to say it. You go back to, well, it's another. Here's a Sioux Falls dominant school, and we had a tough time. Did it remind you of the last year, or did you feel like you were still made strides even though you faced a really tough team?
I always tell the boys, we gotta focus on the positives. We'll correct those negative things that go on during the game, and we'll grow from that. But if you look at us traveling out to Washington, and you're playing a dang good team, you're playing bunch of kids that can really play some football. They're well coached. I mean, what do you do? Well, you know what? I don't care who you're playing. You prepare those boys like they're going to win, no matter what. You got to have that mindset. And so we go out there. We're banged up. We got the middle of the season bruises and bumps. We got a couple guys that can't pull as many snaps as we were hoping to, but they gutted up. They played as much as they could, and we still saw a lot of positive stuff. Now, scoreboard says we got beat up pretty good. Well, 28-7 halftime is what the halftime score was. They scored twice off turnovers, and those turnovers are on us. Maybe we end up punting it away, and they drive down the field and score anyway. But let's say they only get that one out of those two scores. That's still a 21-7 ball game at halftime. I'll take that score with the number one team in the state,
right?
Defending state champions. I mean, we traveled light. Like I said, we got kids out. We got kids that are hurt, sick, everything else. We traveled 38 guys. That's all we traveled.
Yeah, and that's a tough deal against Sioux Falls, Washington, who has a boatload on the other sideline. I said this earlier in the program, Coach. You've been making strides. I really believe that. I think you have some guys that can be physical. I like athletic quarterback play. I mean, the strides you've made from last year to this year, I think, are pretty great. Your record is 1-4, but it seems like the strides are bigger. So how do you keep sending that message? Is that it seems like the stride's bigger than a 1-4 record?
Yeah, I mean that's the hardest thing that you got to convince a high school kid of is don't pay attention to that record. Pay attention to what the coach is telling you. Pay attention to how the game is going, how you're feeling at the end. A loss is always going to hurt. It's always going to stink. But at the same time, was that you just got your butt whooped loss, or is that hey, we clean up a couple mistakes. That's a way different ball game. Instead of losing by 6, 4, 2, we're winning by 7, 10, 14. That turns into a whole nother ball game. And, these boys have been playing with us for a couple years, 2, 3 years. They know how that mentality works. They know what we're going to focus on. We don't focus on, hey, you screwed up this, you blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you want to fix those things, but you want to make sure that they're convinced and they understand that, hey, I am in control of me, and I am in control of the outcome of this ball game if I just go do my job. And they're starting to understand that. They're starting to go out and compete, and they're closing that gap. And, instead of losing the ball game by 28 points, we've closed that down to 2 points or 4 points and things like that.
Right.
So
I see that. Loss against Aberdeen Central, tight. Loss against Watertown at home, that was a tough one. That was tight. Now you have Brandon Valley. Brandon Valley, this is a team that was pretty highly touted, at least on paper going in. Lost a couple. They're 3-2. I think this is a pretty good team, but I think the matchup, it seems like the matchup might be okay for you guys. What do you see Friday night?
The matchup on paper, like if you look at some things, we do all right. And Brandon Valley's got a lot of dudes that can play. They got some kids that are very talented. But they had a change of philosophy from the last couple of years to this year. They're running some new stuff. They're trying a couple different things. And so hopefully, because of our matchup and us having a home game and having good atmosphere and things like that behind us, we go out and we start running, okay? We hit them, and we keep hitting them, and then we're able to get something going. And that's another thing, match up on paper. You can compare that. You can look at records. You can look at this versus that kid and all those things. You can break it down to the minuscule little pieces. But what it comes down to is who's going to come ready to play when that whistle blows and who's going to play the hardest for 48 minutes.
I'll tell you what, they've been hot and cold, Brandon Valley. They're 3-2, but some games they blow people's doors off. They beat Watertown 40-0. That probably gets your attention. And then they lose to Sioux Falls O'Gorman, though, by double digits. So, which you guys were darn competitive with O'Gorman. So it'll be interesting here when you look at that matchup. And then when I look at you guys, Coach, you've had some turnovers. What's been? Have you put your finger on the turnovers? Mental miscues? What is it on the turnover side? Because it's really hurt you at certain times.
Oh, man, those turnovers, they're not just a turnover, man. They're a turnover at a crucial point in the game, man. And what I think it is, and it's just getting a hold of a high school kid and getting them to understand, do not try to play outside of yourself. Do not try to make something more happen than just what you are there to do. If you're there to throw the out route, you're going to throw the out route. If you're there to hit the 6-hole, put your shoulder down and hit the dang 6-hole. Don't try to do more than what you're supposed to do. Don't play outside of yourself.